Hello you guys and welcome back. We are cooking again this week. Today I'm going to be baking some cookies for Yuki. I'm making white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookies. This is another recipe that I've never tried before. I just think it's a lot more fun to try out new recipes with you guys than make all the same stuff I've already made before. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So today we're going to need flour, baking soda, sugar, cornstarch, vanilla, light or dark brown sugar, granulated sugar, white chocolate chips, macadamia nuts, eggs, and of course butter, which is behind me on the counter. I had a little accident with that and may have melted some of it. Anyways, the first thing you're going to want to do is mix all your dry ingredients together, which include your flour. You need 2.5 cups and 2 tablespoons of flour. And then you also need cornstarch, salt, and baking soda. I've already mixed these things together in a bowl. There was an accident while recording, so I will not be recording that part today, but all you do is measure out all your dry ingredients, put them in a bowl, and mix them together, and then we're going to set that off to the side. So for this recipe, we're going to go ahead and mix all of our wet ingredients together. This recipe does not require us to cream the butter and sugar together. I am still going to be using the mixer even though it says to whisk it. I have my mixer set up behind me. It calls for 1.5 sticks of butter. So I already have my butter softened and in the mixer behind me, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding all my wet ingredients, which is the vanilla, the eggs, and both of the sugar. And I will be right back. Alright you guys, I am back and I have all of my wet ingredients mixed together here, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I went ahead and I creamed my 1.5 sticks of softened butter with my 3/4 cup brown sugar and my 3/4 cup granulated sugar, as well as my 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla and my 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. So I did do the same process that I normally would for making cookies. It seemed odd to me to just throw them all together and hope for the best, so I did cream my butter and sugar together first before adding in the rest of those ingredients. And now we're going to go ahead and move on. I now have a rubber spatula and I'm going to add in all of my dry ingredients by hand. You can still use a mixer for this if you want. I just don't want to keep using the mixer. So I'm going to do this by hand. I'll be done any day now. I'm going to do this by hand. Alright you guys, I cheated. I put it back on the mixer. I got over mixing it by hand. But now I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my ingredients, which are my macadamia nuts and my white chocolate chips. And it looks like I'm going to need 1 cup of each of them. Here is my measuring cup, my 1 cup, and I'm just gonna... This recipe says 1 heaping cup for the white chocolate chips, so I'm going to add just a little more than a cup, overflowed a little. Now I'm going to attempt to mix this in by hand. No promises I'll do a good job. Now I'm going to try and open this package. And I'm not going to crush these or anything. I tried to and it didn't work out. So I'm just going to put them in whole. I do think most of the time when I have white chocolate macadamia nut cookies, it does look like they are whole anyways. It doesn't look like they were broken into pieces. So it is probably better to leave them that way. Why change a good thing, right? All right, my dough's all mixed together and looking just like macadamia and chocolate chip. My dough is all mixed together and looking just like white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookie dough. I'm super excited. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cover this. And it says to put it in the fridge for 2 hours. Now, I'm not going to be putting mine in the fridge for 2 hours because I actually don't have time for that. So I'm gonna put it in the fridge for a little bit and probably put it in the freezer for a tiny little bit, not too long. I don't want my dough to freeze, but just enough to chill it. Go ahead and pop this back in the fridge, and I'll be back probably in an hour, hour and a half tops, and I will see you guys then. All right, you guys, I am back. The dough is all chilled and done, and the oven is already preheated to 350 degrees. Now all that's left is to make 1 to 1.5 inch balls with the dough. The recipe says to put them 3 inches apart. I believe they spread a lot when they bake, so I'm gonna make sure I follow that. I'm not gonna get a ruler out or anything, but I'm gonna give them a decent amount of space. And then we're gonna bake them for 12 to 13 minutes. I went ahead and got a spoon. The dough is a little hard. I had it in the fridge for 40 minutes and in the freezer for 20 minutes. And I do have long nails, so to be a little more sanitary, instead of getting that dough under my nails, I'm going to use a spoon. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on making the dough balls. 1.5 inches. I think that's pretty large compared to how big I typically make my balls of dough. I usually do probably like, I'd say 3/4 of an inch. So this didn't have enough macadamia nuts in this. I'm just adding a couple more manually. All right, now that I have both sheets with cookies on them, spread probably a little bit more than 3 inches apart. I'm giving them plenty of space. Since I've never made them before, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in my oven. It's heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna bake them for 12 to 13 minutes, though I am gonna keep an eye on them and check halfway through just to see how they're doing. I'm not gonna open the oven and let the heat out. I'm just gonna turn on my oven light, and I will be right back. All right, you guys, I am back, and our first batch of cookies is finally done. The second batch is already in the oven. I haven't tried them yet or anything, so this will be my first time trying them. So here we go. I'm a little nervous. They're still warm. Didn't let them cool all the way, but here we go. Okay, that's pretty good. I love it. Nine out of 10. Some of my cookies don't have very much stuff in them. Here is the cookie. Do you guys want a cookie? Well, it turned out pretty good. I ended up baking them for 13 minutes. And they turned out nice and chewy and soft. And I think that it's another good recipe that I'm gonna have to save. Some of them are not very consistent, though. I need to work on that. It's a little bit harder to make it consistent with all the stuff in them. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for joining me once again for another baking video, another cooking video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in 2 weeks with my next tasting video. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This series has been so much fun, and I will see you guys then. Bye.